Hey guys, what's up? I'm CJ and welcome back to my galaxy. Today we are discussing BookTok, and just to preface this, I'm gonna say I'm not a huge fan of BookTok, and don't get me wrong, there are some good aspects about it, but overall it is an extremely toxic place that needs to just collectively take a deep breath and understand that not everything's that serious. What we're specifically going to be talking about today is the discourse I've been seeing surrounding the publishing industry and how BookTok has been influencing that, and I honestly don't agree with all of what has been said, but I do agree with some of it, and we're going to get into that today. So if you don't know what BookTok is, save yourselves, click off this video right now. Don't taint your life with BookTok. Once again, that community isn't all bad. But if you really want to desperately know what BookTok is, and for some reason you haven't stumbled upon it already, BookTok is on TikTok and it's for the book community. A lot of people do, it's like BookTube. It's reviews, it's a lot of tropification. Tropification is the word that I've been hearing a lot as well on this whole thing. It's one of the things that makes books on BookTok become so popular. BookTok makes books go viral, essentially. That's the whole thing. That's the whole spiel about it. So, tropification. Remember when a book blurb was kind of a synopsis of the entire book? Do you remember the good old days when that happened? Book reviews then became the whole trend, and now it's tropification. It's not on the I don't think it's on the back of the book, but the way you advertise books now, it went from book blurbs to book reviews by really big famous authors to tropes. The way books are marketed now is essentially through tropes. Is it enemies to lovers? Is it like the one bed trope? Is it what else do we have? Found family trope? Is it, oh god, I don't remember all the tropes. I stopped paying attention at some point. I'm so sorry. Fake dating trope. I know a lot of people have been saying Candace and Peter. Fake dating trope. I'm just gonna point it out there. They are literally enemies to lovers, friends to lovers. They're enemies to friends to lovers to fake dating to literally everything. They're everything. Anyway, moving on. I got sidetracked. Because BookTok is on a platform of short form media, like it's on TikTok. It's literally on TikTok. It's not BookTube where you can do longer reviews on books. So people are scrolling past, you have to capture people's attention immediately. People have boiled down books to tropes to catch people's attention, which is one of the first things that I hate about BookTok. It makes everything really fast-paced and it's grabbing your attention. You have to read this book because it's enemies to lovers, it has one bed trope, it's all of this, and I know a lot of BookTok is about like the spice levels of, if you don't know what spice levels are, I'm not explaining it to you, you're too young to know. Don't look it up. So a lot of BookTok is about spice levels in a book, and people rate it for spice, and it's just, I don't enjoy that part of BookTok. And can we take out spice from every single book? I just want one without spice in it, please. Just one. Just one. This is me just ranting. This is not even about BookTok at this point. I'm sorry, I really don't like BookTok. BookTube, on the other hand, love it. Tropification of books is kind of where the issues start coming in. I know that I've seen a lot of people talking about BookTok becoming or influencing media trends in the publishing industry to become kind of like fast fashion, and fast fashion essentially being people will pick up a book or pick up a piece of clothing, say like Shein is, I think that's how you pronounce it, I don't know, I don't care. Shein, I think it's Shein. Maybe I shouldn't. Anyway, Shein is, they'll have very fast trends, you'll have seasonal trends, and people will buy a piece of clothing, wear it once, and move on and dump it, throw it away, whatever, because it's not in fashion anymore. And people are saying that BookTok is following that trend and it's influencing the publishing era because it's going into this whole thing where people will buy a really popular book and never read it again, never read it at all, put it on their TBR, which is fair. I do that a lot when I want to read a book. Anyway, but people will move on from really popular books immediately, and it won't stick to the media in the way a lot of books used to. And that's because a lot of these books are pumping out, a lot of these authors and publishing houses are pumping out a lot of books from the same person, the same writer, because they're trying to profit off of really the popularity and the fast pace of TikTok. They'll pump out heaps of books, and it used to be that Stephen King was crazy. You know, Stephen King been publishing since like the 80s, and he writes something like 2 to 3 books a year. I think I read it was 2 to 3 books. And it used to be that he would publish a crazy amount of books compared to every other author. Authors would publish maybe 1 book a year, especially if you're building a, say, like a trilogy. You'd get, because I know a lot about the Hunger Games, you got a Hunger Games novel every year until the trilogy was complete. But now it's like put out the entire novel series in one go, or even they won't even be a novel series. It'll be multiple different novels to do with just different stories in general from the same author, and they'll pump out like 4 novels a year. And the publishing houses are giving them deals even though it's not that high of quality. And don't get me wrong, these books, there's nothing wrong, despite them being poor quality and they're not the highest of literature, which is going to get into my next point in a minute. There is nothing wrong with reading really trashy novels, especially BookTok novels that are popular, but it becomes a problem when that's the only type of novels that are in the industry. Other than tropification and fast fashion, except it's fast fashion of popular books, is that a lot of people have been talking about, and something that I quite frankly find elitist, is that people should be reading higher literature and things that are a lot better in quality. And I don't agree with that, because some people, reading is just reading. You don't have to be reading the highest, you don't need to be reading classic books to be considered a bookworm or someone who is into reading. And that's something that's so crazy that is also a part of BookTok, and I don't think people are realizing that they're adding to the discourse they're adding themselves to BookTok, that they're criticizing. They're being hypocrites, essentially. People are talking about how you can't consider yourself a reader if you're reading like a Colleen Hoover book. And first of all, Colleen Hoover sucks. I haven't read the novels, but I've read the excerpts, and she should not be considered one of the trashy romances. I think she should be one of the people we're canceling. But that's besides the point. There are a lot of books that are considered really trashy. I think one of them is Fourth Wing at the moment. I don't know if that's one of the trashy ones, but I know that's a popular BookTok novel, and I saw it in the store the other day, so that's the first thing that came to mind. But you can call yourself a bookworm if you're reading really bad novels or even short novels, because you're still reading words on a page. I'm sorry that my camera is a little bit shaky. It's not very stable on my desk right now. I just noticed that it's shaking like crazy. I'm just gonna move I'm sitting like this now. So my camera stopped shaking. Okay. Reading isn't just for people who are analyzing novels. You shouldn't have to analyze a novel and enjoy it and just not just enjoy it in reading for leisure to wind down after a long day. People are allowed to read trashy novels, and you guys need to stop being so elitist because you think it's just you need to be only reading the best of literature, the highest of literature. But that doesn't mean the people who have been self-publishing recently should be, not getting enough editors and beta readers, because some of you guys need to be doing that. Especially, once again, Colleen Hoover. Someone else needs to be reading over her novels before she publishes them. I'm just gonna point that out. I'm being very critical of Colleen Hoover despite the fact I have not read her novels. So if anyone's into Colleen Hoover, just take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Yes, a lot of the BookTok community is prioritizing quantity over quality because because of how fast TikTok is in trends, which is insane, because we all need to slow down on those trends on TikTok. I'm starting to feel old because I can't keep up with all of them. You all have too much time on your hands, I swear. Because of how fast the trends are, it means that we need a new book every week, essentially, to make popular, to be reading, and people are trying to reach their reading goals of 300 books, and most of them are teenagers who have a lot of time on their hands. Too much time, in fact. And you know what teenagers, especially teenage girls, because a lot of BookTok is full of girls and women who love these trashy romances. Teenagers love trashy romances. As a teenage girl, I personally didn't read a lot of fan fiction growing up, but I was surrounded by a lot of other teenage girls who read a lot of fan fiction. And a lot of these books, and I've been hearing a lot of people saying, they're exactly like fan fiction. A lot of this is just something that these women haven't found AO3, essentially. And you know another thing teenage girls are totally into growing up, and it's drama and romance, and teenage girls and teenagers in general get into fights with people and they cause drama. They think it's the end of the world when they break up with their boyfriend or something. What did teenage girls, I wasn't a normal teenage girl. What did teenage girls do again? I don't know. But they think things. I thought the end of the world was failing a class, and a lot of these books are written exactly like it's the end of the world, that one minuscule little detail in your life is happening. And this is because TikTok and largely social media in general is often targeted to people who have the most time to be consuming that amount of media, and the people who have that much time are teenagers, because they're in school and the only thing they really do is school, homework, and a break. Teenagers have a lot of time on their hands, and that's why these trends go so fast. I personally just think we shouldn't be taking BookTok as seriously as we do. The last point I want to make in this video is publishing houses putting a lot of pressure and just importance on social media, and that's once again the big large corporations with the money and the resources and all the flair that'll make you famous, a famous author. They're the ones causing an issue as well. It's not just the consumers. It's not always just the consumers that are causing the issue. Publishing houses are largely a part of the capitalist pig and the late stage capitalism era that we're in, and they want to profit off of you as much as possible. So they're going to look at the trends and they're going to pump out as many novels as they can a year. Because social media is becoming so important and such a big influence, it's becoming increasingly necessary to have a social media platform and to have a following before you even go into publishing. Traditional publishing houses are becoming more likely to only accept you if you have a social media following, and at that point, if you have a social media following to start with, you may as well, in my personal opinion, just self-publish. Once again, that's my own personal opinion. Not everyone wants to do it on their own because they don't have the experience within the industry, but at the same time, if you have to increase your social media influence, you have to find a viral moment, you have to find some sort of popularity within media that's going to get people to buy your book before you've even found a publishing house. And by then, publishing houses are going to be looking and scouting for talent. Scouting for talent and just accepting book deals is going to get more, it's going to get you a book deal that is just multiple books a year, because the biggest publishing houses want that money. They want to be exploiting you. It's much more likely in the long run that you're going to be sacrificing quality for quantity. So yeah, BookTok and just social media in general, it's not even like a BookTok thing at this point. It's the TikTok trends work fast, and everyone needs to take a deep breath and just calm down. Because why that is a genuine question I have. Why does TikTok move so fast? It needs to calm down. It stresses me out. It's genuinely distressing. TikTok is scary. Take it away. You guys are gonna hate me for this. Make TikTok have the same fate as Vine. I'm just saying, okay? Don't come for me. Because social media works really fast and trends come and go within a couple of days. If you're lucky, it'll last 2 weeks. Big corporations have caught on to that fact and they're exploiting it. And truly, once again, like I said, we need to take a deep breath, because we need to have a look at ourselves in the mirror and realize that we're allowing big corporations to exploit us because we've created things like BookTok. Yeah, I hate BookTok, but being on BookTube is honestly adding to the fire. I am just as much at fault for making this video as any BookToker because I'm adding to the trend of talking about BookTok, and BookTok is crazy, but it's mostly the fault, I would argue, of the publishing houses who are looking to exploit and make money in as quickly and as much as possible. So obviously you're getting people who are writing books faster than Stephen King, which is crazy, because when I was younger, honestly, I'm still very young, but when I was first reading like 2 books a day, and I first heard of Stephen King writing 2-3 books a year, I thought that was insane. As someone who writes, I'm a writer, I'm not published by any means. I'm thinking about writing my novel in a couple of months, in 3 to 6 months, and being able to market it and edit it and have beta readers read through. You can't do that in a couple of months. It doesn't matter how long the novel is, you just can't do that without sacrificing quality. What my idea is for fixing all of this, or fixing it as best as we can, like who's gonna listen to me? No one. We just need a bit more of a balance like we used to. You know, we can have really good quality books, but have our trashy novels we just need to not publish them and not allow corporations to pump out books as fast, because we can have trashy novels but have them be grammatically correct in writing and to be beta read, and actually trashy romances can be good in a trashy kind of way. They just need maybe an extra week or 2, just a little bit more time in order to be a good kind of trashy. And when I say trashy, I'm talking more like tropes, but let's not, that reminds me, let's not advertise things as tropes anymore. I personally think that's a trend. It's gonna die off in the same way that reviews on the back of books, like they're there every so often now, but I think it's starting to die off again, which is great, because I hate the reviews on the book. Bring back book blurbs. I miss them. I've missed them for the past 5-ish years. It's been longer than that. I feel like it's been 5-ish years, but 5 to 10 years. Bring them back. I miss them. But the tropification of novels, it's a passing trend. It'll leave eventually, and we'll be back to normal-ish, kind of. Stop marketing novels with tropes. Literally read the blurb of the book in your TikTok and read the first sentence of a novel or something of a book. You know, you open up your book and read the first sentence to hook people in. You know, remember when you're supposed to have a sizzling start in stories in like primary school? Or elementary school, if you're American, bring that back. All we need to do is just split the difference. Give us a little bit more balance. You know, one good piece of literature you can analyze here, one trashy romance here, a little bit of what's it called, romance and fantasy romantasy, I think it's called, a little romantasy here, a little bit enemies of lovers here. You know, every so often just change it up a little bit, so we have like a nice decent balance for all the different kinds of readers and bookworms out there. We have to remember that we're not all the same people. We don't all read the same, and stop being elitist. Just because you analyze novels and other people don't doesn't mean you're better than them. I analyze books and I find that fun. I am currently starting to annotate The Hunger Games, which I'm gonna be posting a video about next Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. But I analyze novels because that's what I find fun. That's why I like reading. Not everyone likes reading because of an analysis, because something is incredibly like difficult to understand. Some people want to sit down and just immediately understand something, and that's fine. Sometimes I like that with more films than books, and that's fine. You don't need everything to be the best thing that's ever been written. People should be able to read a really popular book and not have to think twice about it, whether or not they're going to be criticized and have people say that they're not bookworms or they're not readers. You shouldn't have to be worried about that sort of thing when reading. It should be a community. I miss when we were a community that welcomed essentially anyone except for the people who romanticized really bad things, like Colleen Hoover. Who said that? So here are my things that you should be taking away from this video. Calm down, take a deep breath, be respectful of others' reading habits. Don't be an elitist prick. Slow trends down a little bit And don't let corporations exploit you, whether you're a reader or a writer. And that's all from me today. If you guys want me to continue talking about this topic, I can rant about this all day, every day. But this video is being recorded on the day I'm uploading it, so I don't have enough time to be talking about all the things I could be talking about and going really in depth with it. But if you guys want me to discuss each individual point in depth, then sure, I don't mind. I can talk about TikTok trends and how crazy they are and how much I hate how fast TikTok goes and runs and how fast YouTube is. But YouTube's so slow. It's like the old granny of the internet. I enjoy it over here, and it's still really fast paced as well. So it's saying something when I'm saying it's the old granny of the internet. Anyways, guys, that is it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and comment down below what your opinions are of BookTok and quality versus quantity when it comes to publishing houses. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, but until the next video, I've been CJ, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!